Will we get the Commanders versus the Bills, or will we get the Chiefs versus the Eagles, or maybe Bills versus Eagles, or maybe Bills versus Commanders? Find out next time on NFLZ. Grossi Posse Packer Nation. Welcome to an episode of the podcast where you don't have to be Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom. Grossi. And today we are going to be breaking down Championship Sunday and the two games that are remaining in the playoffs. And then, of course, we got the frackin' Super Bowl. Last week, I went a respectable 3-1. Of course, my only game that I got wrong was the Commanders beating the Lions. I did not see that coming, but I'm hoping to go perfect this week for the final two games before the Super Bowl. Let's freaking get it. Starting off with the NFC Championship game. Sorry. I am trying to be better, trying to use my previous education and as a teacher, and I just realized that not everyone's going to understand what I just said. Cowboys fans, the NFC Championship game is the game that happens after the divisional round. No, it does exist. No, I know. It does exist. You can get there if you win 2 playoff games if you're a wild card team, or if you win and get the number 1 seed in the NFC, you only have to win 1 game. I know, it's crazy. It does exist. You could look it up. But we got the NFC Championship game between the Washington Commanders and the Philadelphia Eagles. Oh boy, well, it turns out the NFC North, the NFC East is the NFC Beast, as you got 2 teams from the same division squaring off for the 3rd time this year. And oh boy, this should be a pretty damn fun game. And for the Commanders, I bet they're hoping they face Kenny Pickett again.
Yeah, I feel pretty sorry for the next guy who looks at me funny.
What about that guy?
Don't be silly. He's not bothering anybody. I mean, not like that guy.
Who, me?
But in reality, holy crap, Commanders, they have been one hell of a story this year. Whether it's been their season saved from the Hail Mary from Jaden Daniels against the Chicago Bears, I really like that part, or the fact that Cliff Kingsbury, Dan Quinn, and Jaden Daniels have made this offense just purr. Looking at that secondary, they've been playing great. The run defense, not the greatest, but what they've been able to do since getting into the postseason, and this is why I love the playoffs so much, that anything can happen, they have been playing mistake-free football. The Commanders have not turned the ball over in their 2 playoff games, and that has allowed them to be very successful. Of course, you had the game-changing fumble against the Buccaneers, in which they were able to recover and score a touchdown, and ultimately they won that game. Then you had the 5 turnovers from the Lions, and the Commanders are just playing very clean and efficient football right now. Jaden Daniels is looking like a veteran out there, and regardless of who's going to be favored in this game, there is definitely a shot that the Commanders win, and you're sending a rookie quarterback to the Super Bowl. And taking a look at the Philadelphia Eagles, I feel like some people are sleeping on the Eagles, and I say that as someone who put them at number 4 yesterday. But even with all that, they are still a very good football team. And as I mentioned in Power Rankings yesterday, they are still built to go to the Super Bowl. Their defense has been playing very, very well. I know the Rams were able to get close near the end, but they were able to keep them away. On top of that, Saquon frickin' Barkley has been a stud. He should be in the running for MVP. I know they're going to give it to a quarterback like Lamar or Josh Allen, and it'll be rightly deserved, but holy crap, what a season Saquon Barkley has had. Behind an offensive line that is very good in run blocking. Pass protection, they could definitely be a bit better, but Saquon has revolutionized that offense because when Jalen Hurts is not playing well or they just can't get a rhythm going, you just hand that freaking ball to Saquon. And that is going to be, I think, the determining factor on who is going to win this game. Of course, the last time that they faced off, the Commanders were able to knock off the Eagles, though the Eagles got close to winning that game. game, and that was without their starters. And of course, their first match of the Eagles wound up beating the Commanders. And now you have the rubber match, which both fan bases are very, very ready for. This will be played in Philadelphia, so it's most likely going to be freaking cold. But hey, DC, they're used to that. But the defining factor here that I think is going to make the big difference is Saquon Barkley, because whether it was a win or a loss, Saquon dominated the Washington Commanders the last two times that they played. The first time he had 146 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns. The last time that they played, even without their starters, he had 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. So each time he's been getting close to 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. That can definitely be a game changer this coming Sunday. Now, one of the reasons why the Eagles were able to get so close the last time that these two faced off was because the freaking Commanders had 5 turnovers. Now, as I was just talking about, they are playing a different style of football. However, they are going up against the best pass coverage in the entire NFL in the Philadelphia Eagles secondary, and it is going to be tough for Jaden Daniels to keep things clean going up against such a good defense. On top of that, we saw last week the kind of impact that guys like Jalen Carter can have. If they're able to get after Jaden Daniels and make him uncomfortable and flush him from the pocket, they definitely have a shot. And taking a look at the pass rush of the Lions, they were not able to get after Jaden Daniels very consistently, and because of that, Jaden Daniels had some time and he was able to be very accurate with the ball and go through his progressions. And overall, looking at this game, I can see this going either way. However, if I am going to pick a team, I am going to continue my blessing of the Commanders and not pick them to win, because I am going with the Philadelphia Eagles to get a very, very close victory against the Commanders here. I just think that Saquon, as I mentioned in both those games, he was unstoppable. And I know the run defense of the Commanders is not very good. And if you look at the last game against the Lions, Gibbs was running really, really well. Unfortunately for the Lions, they just stopped utilizing him and they just trailed too much. Here, if the Eagles can establish a lead and or just drain the clock, control time of possession, and run the ball with Saquon, I think they should be able to keep the Commanders offense off the field, which obviously is the most poignant part of this entire squad. However, with Jalen Hurts being a little banged up right now, if the Commanders are able to force him into some mistakes and they're able to build a lead, I think the Commanders could wind up winning this. But ultimately, I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles to get the win here, mostly off the back of Saquon Barkley, heading back to the Super Bowl. And from there, we'll see who they're going to be facing off against. And then, you got the AFC Championship game between the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, this is going to be some fun football. From years ago and 13 seconds and breaking the Bills' hearts, and oh God, we can't even say 13 seconds anymore, to the last time that they faced off, and the Bills were at home, and the Chiefs came into their house last year and beat them. This rivalry has been getting better and better. Of course, the Bills have been winning during the regular season, but they can't get the big-time win in the playoffs. They lost 3 straight to the Chiefs in the postseason. Can they break the streak? And let's talk about the Buffalo Bills this season, because talk about the year that they have had. They were expected to go through this rebuild, this reload, and instead, they have had a top 10 passing attack, a top 10 rushing attack, ranked both at 9. James Cook had a phenomenal year. Josh Allen had a great year. He's vying for MVP, and they just knocked off the Baltimore Ravens, who were one of the tougher teams to beat in the playoffs. Well, except when the Baltimore Ravens just beat themselves, but hey, that happens every year. But in terms of the Bills, they are an impressive team. They got guys back from injury, at least from the last time that they played the Ravens, and they're going to be heading into this matchup hungry to win this game. And then you look at the Kansas City Chiefs. It's kind of the same old with them. What do I mean by that is they're a really damn good football team. They won the number 1 seed yet again. No, it was not in the prettiest fashion, but their offense was doing enough to win football games. And of course, their defense is pretty damn good as well. The last time that these two teams faced off, the Bills did not allow a single sack. They were getting after Patrick Mahomes. I remember their first drive that the Chiefs had, there was a turnover, and ultimately, the Bills were able to win that football game. But here in the postseason at Arrowhead, it is a completely different story. And just because the Bills are able to knock them off in the regular season doesn't mean diddly squat right now. On top of that, the Chiefs didn't have Isaiah Pacheco, they didn't have Hollywood Brown, and so that could make a big difference in this ball game. However, the Bills were able to hold Derrick Henry, and while he was able to be at least effective, the Bills were able to still hold them off, and I know it took a Mark Andrews drop in the end zone to win that game, but ultimately the Bills did just enough to win. And for the Chiefs, they're definitely not going to be the underdogs here, right? They have all this experience behind them. They've been in this situation before. This is their 7th straight AFC Championship appearance, which is absolutely mind-boggling. And you know what, Chiefs fans? I'm just going to say it. At some point, you're just going to have to accept the role of the villain.
You and I are not so different.
I'm not like you.
I chose my path, you chose the way of the hero. And they found you amusing for a while. But the one thing they love more than a hero is to see a hero fall. In spite of everything you've done for them, eventually they will hate you. Why bother?
Embrace it. Utilize it. And honestly, I think this is going to be a phenomenal football game. I'm super excited. The biggest difference between when the Chiefs and the Bills have played in the past is now the Bills have a run game. The Chiefs, they have had one with Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco, and they do a really good job of just wearing out opposing defenses. And here, if the Bills are able to contain their running attack like they were against the Ravens, I think the Bills actually have a pretty damn good shot of winning this football game. And I know it's just a matter of, hey, we just got to wait for it to happen, because if we're tired of the Chiefs' dominance, guess what? Somebody's got to beat them. And right now, the Bills are the AFC's only hope of doing that. There's only been 2 teams that have been able to do that in the past, and that's been the Bengals and it was the Patriots. Bills, you can join that illustrious list if you're able to get this done on Sunday. If you're able to get after Mahomes, force those turnovers, make him uncomfortable in the pocket. Like I said, I think the Bills have a shot here. Von Miller needs to have himself a damn good game, and maybe, just maybe, it could be Buffalo all the way this time. Last year, I picked the Bills to win, and I looked like an idiot, and the Chiefs wound up winning the Super Bowl again. Here, I'm going to do the same damn thing. I think with the addition of the running game, the Bills have their best opportunity to knock off the Chiefs. So I'm going with the Buffalo Bills to get the win. The Chiefs, looking at last week's box score, the Texans did just about everything right, except, for the missed extra point, the blocked field goal, and also the 8 sacks. But they controlled time and possession. They were able to get more yards, but it didn't matter. The Chiefs are still going to be incredibly difficult to beat, and this is going to be an uphill battle for the Bills. However, I think they have the balanced offense to finally do it. And so because of that, I'm going with Buffalo for the win. You'd have the Eagles, you'd have the Bills. So let's see if the Bills can kind of knock out that curse, of losing all those Super Bowls to NFC East teams. But here, I'm going to hopefully not regret this. I'm going Buffalo. Let's see if they can finally get it done. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Who do you got winning Championship Sunday? Who's going to the Super Bowl? Let me know. You can always find me at TomGrossiComedy.com. A huge shout out to all the Patreon and YouTube members for supporting this channel. And thank you, folks. Thank you so much for watching. We'll have one more predictions episode left this season to predict the Super Bowl, but I appreciate the hell out of you. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi, and as always, go Pack, go.